Jerry Uelsmann is an American photographer who was well known in the 1960s for his surreal images. One of the themes that appeared a lot in his work were hands and these surreal effects that were like double exposures. So we're going to follow that same style of Jerry Uelsmann's surreal hands. What you're going to want to start with is a photo of hands. You definitely want to take your own photo. Think about a solid background. It doesn't necessarily have to be black paper. It could be, a desk, a wall, grass, fabric, but you really want it to have a plain, non-distracting background. How you pose the hands is completely up to you, but you might want to have them look like they're holding something if you're trying to copy that style of Jerry's images. But if you ever look at some of his images, you will see that there are different ways that you could set this up. Once you have that image of the hands open, then you're going to go up to layer, add image as layer, and add whatever image in that you want the hands to be holding. So I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to put in this blurred photo that I had done of this stream. So while I'm highlighting that image, I'm just going to knock the opacity down so that I can see the hands a bit. This will help me when I place my image. So this will help me know about how big I want this to be and where I want the hands to be holding that stream. I kind of like the way that that looks. So I'm going to go back up and put my opacity all the way up. I only wanted to lower the opacity so that I could see the image. And while that image is highlighted, that layer, I am going to do the darken layer mode. And this is going to start the process. Okay, I'm not done yet though. Making sure that I'm still on that top layer of whatever I'm adding to the hands, I'm going to go and find my cutout and mask tool. Make sure that I am on draw mask. I would suggest that you bump your opacity down a little bit and do a soft brush and play around with the size. What you're going to be doing here is you are going to be drawing that mask to help you get rid of the harsh edges of that image. So I'm just kind of clicking and letting go, and I'm just trying to soften the edges of that image. I don't want it to look like I have that perfectly rectangular square line of the photo. So I'm just kind of clicking around. I can click a couple of places if I wanted to see the hands a little bit more. I think I'm pretty satisfied there. So now our next step is to help us do a consistent surreal image. Each layer, so I'm going to do this separately. I don't want to merge it down yet. I'm going to create that auto black and white. And I can do it separately. So each layer, adjust auto black and white, and then I can go back and forth between those layers and play around with my brightness and contrast. And that's going to help me get the effect that I'm looking for. I can do that for both of my layers, the brightness and contrast, so I get what I'm looking for. If I need to go back in and do any cleaning up of the edges, I notice right here I can still see that rectangle. Make sure I'm on the correct layer and make sure I'm still on that draw mask tool. Okay. And if I need to do any cropping, now is a good time. And I have just created a surreal hand double exposure in the style of Jerry Uelsmann. You can go ahead and file, save as, make sure that you're doing a JPEG, rename it when you save it. So I'm actually just going to call this Uelsmann hands. And now you've got your finished PIXLR project to turn in.